Scottsbluff police make a sizable drug bust at a local hotel and say the hotel manager was selling narcotics while on the job. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, the manager of the Scottsbluff Inn has been arrested for selling drugs out of the hotel. 39-year-old Garrett Cunningham was taken into custody after a search warrant was served on his living quarters at the property. Following a search of the room, there was a seizure of 149 suspected fentanyl pills, a stolen handgun, and trace amounts of methamphetamine. Cunningham is now facing charges including possession with intent to distribute, felon in possession of a firearm, possession of a stolen firearm, and meth possession. He made his first court appearance Wednesday afternoon in Scottsbluff County Court. Well, Scottsbluff County Commissioners have removed the interim portion from the job title of Steve Baird, unanimously naming him the new County Highway Superintendent. During last week's meeting, Board Chair Ken Meyer thanked Baird for stepping up and taking over the department following the dismissal of former Roads Department Superintendent Linda Grummert, saying it was a difficult situation.
He's done a great job for us as the interim, and I think he'll do well as the person in charge and doing what needs to be done. We do appreciate your work and your diligence and working with us trying to get through all of this.
Baird has been with the Roads Department for 7 years, 6 of those as Assistant Superintendent. The position was open to all who may have been interested. However, Baird was the only person to seek the permanent job. We'll have more news right after this.
At Platte Valley Bank, we want to help you take advantage of every adventure. We know you have plans, goals, and dreams. Let us help you with them. Whether it is building, buying, or renovating, we have the home loan or home equity line of credit to fit your needs. Stop in and see us at Platte Valley Bank and let us help make your dreams a reality. You belong here. Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and in fact a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance and in retrospect a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Welcome back. 2 Gering High School cross-country runners were injured late Monday afternoon when they were hit by a pickup at the 17th and M intersection in Gering. The injured runners, 16 and 17-year-old males, were taken from the scene to Regional West and their conditions not available as neither are listed in the hospital directory. The driver of the pickup told investigators the sun was glaring into his windshield and he did not see the pedestrians until he was too close and hit the brakes. 2 occupants of the vehicle behind the pickup confirmed the sun was at a low angle at the time of the accident. No citations were issued. Well, a 25-year-old Alliance man has been sentenced following an investigation conducted by the Wing Drug Task Force. Court records show that Brendan Coward sold LSD and meth to CIs working for the Wing Drug Task Force between 2019 and late 2020. Once he was released from prison for serving an 18-month burglary sentence, he was arrested on the warrant charging him with possession of an exceptionally hazardous drug. And in July, he pleaded no contest to the Class 2 felony. On Wednesday, District Judge Travis O'Gorman sentenced Coward to 4 to 8 years in prison, who received credit for 1 day already served. And back in May, Gering voters approved a ballot measure to increase sales tax by half a cent to fund infrastructure. Beginning October 1st, Folks will see the sales tax increase from 7% to 7.5% under the LB 357 tax initiative. This additional half-cent sales tax will sunset in 10 years, but for the next decade, the additional funding will be used to fund infrastructure projects that have been neglected due to overall budget constraints. Well, still to come, Sean Callahan catches up with Jason Jorgensen for this week's Husker Chat.
Welcome to Kelly's, home of the Valley's best selection of wine, spirits, and beer. Whether you're brand loyal to the tried and true brew or really enjoy trying something different and new, Kelly's has something for everyone. Family owned and operated and right on your way on West 27th Street in Scotts Bluff. Kelly's Liquor. If you can't find it at Kelly's, it's not worth drinking.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Logos in Gearing is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees, and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gearing.
I really like how our OB department takes our limited amount of doctors and turns it into a strength. Even though we only have a couple of people, you get to know them well over your entire pregnancy. We have 2 state-of-the-art labor rooms that are new with our last addition. We have a couple of very nice postpartum rooms also right here in the hospital, so they can get as much time with mom and baby as possible.
Now, sports from the FNBO Sports Desk. FNBO, the great big small bank.
I'm Jason Jorgensen. It is once again time for Husker Chat. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. We are joined by Sean Callahan with Husker Online as we'll talk about the Huskers trying for a nice reset coming off of the bye week. Sean, if there ever was a team that needed a bye, it was certainly Nebraska. How do you think they have managed this, and what can we really expect on Saturday night in the game against Indiana?
Yeah, it's obviously been a really long month of the season to start things out. You had Ireland, you had 2 coaches get fired, you have 33 new players on this roster. I mean, there's just been a lot of influx, 5 new coaches brought into the staff. And so, yeah, I think the time of the bye has been great just to kind of reset everything. And Bill Busch has come in as the new defensive coordinator. I think he's done his best to try to simplify more what they do, which I know is easier said than done. But the reality is Nebraska's defense was having a hard time getting lined up and set up before the play, and it caused a lot of problems. And, you know, they're one of the worst defenses right now in college football statistically. So they can really only go up from here at this point. And I know Bill Bush has a tough job ahead of him. But this game against Indiana, I think it presents a lot of matchup challenges. Indiana wants to run plays. Their quarterback, Connor Bazalek, he has had 213 dropbacks, which leads the country. They run, over 80, 90 plays a game, and most Saturdays. Last week in a loss, they ran 104 plays. They typically play close to 4-hour football games. So I think from a defensive standpoint, Nebraska has the work cut out of them. But at the same time, they need to build an offensive game plan that helps Nebraska in this game.
You mentioned Indiana going quick. How does this work for the Huskers? You mentioned the problems Nebraska's had getting set and getting lined up. I would think that's really going to put a stress on this infrastructure, this coaching staff, just to get the calls in time to run the right play against Indiana.
I think this whole back and forth chess game that Shenander used to try to play, they're done doing that. I think they're going to have a call and they're going to stick with it. They're not going to try to, you change, we change that game, because a lot of times they just weren't ready to go. And I think opposing teams were using that against Nebraska, trying to kind of confuse them with pre-snap checks, reads, substitutions. And it just led to a defense that was having a hard time getting set up. Now, the question is, will it make a difference? Can Nebraska physically get it done? Their back seven of the defense has not been great. The linebackers, the safeties. What changes can they have to make those guys better football players still remains the question.
Today at Husker Chat, we're joined by Sean Callahan with Husker Online as Nebraska gets set for their matchup against Indiana this weekend. Sean, I know a lot of people were looking for, and they were looking towards the new depth chart that came out this week. There weren't a lot of changes. What's kind of your read and take on that?
Yeah, the biggest thing was Kevin Williams not listed. He started left guard the week before against Oklahoma. He's out with an ankle injury. He had surgery. Ethan Piper will get an opportunity to be a starter again. He started last year and then got hurt and hasn't been a starter since, but he started in 2020. So Ethan Piper will get a new opportunity at left guard this week. Obviously Turner Corcoran's at left tackle. Ernest Hausman not listed on the depth chart, but he'll continue to play a lot of special teams. Then we saw some younger names appear on that depth chart. Omar Brown could play at nickel. Malcolm Harstug, a freshman out of Mississippi. Jalen Gold, a freshman safety out of New Jersey. I think if we see any new younger guys play, it's going to be on that back end of the defense, probably in the secondary.
Anything really concrete really developed here lately on the coaching search? I know there's like a 1,000 thoughts on where this goes and who might be interested and who might Nebraska target.
Yeah, it's going to be a long 2 months, Jason. This is a lot of the guys we're talking about are sitting head coaches. And when you're a sitting head coach, you're not going to take a job or talk to another school. But I think Lance Leipold's name, Dave Miranda's name, the Kansas head coach, the Baylor head coach. I think Dave Doran at North Carolina State. There's a lot of names out there. Bill O'Brien at Alabama continues to get a lot of steam. Early on, you heard Mark Stoops' name, but man, he's got Kentucky in the top 10 right now. They're playing really good football. So I think you've got to kind of continue to look at this week by week, but there is a search firm. I'm sure Trev is going to utilize that. They're going to have their candidate list and kind of really try to size this thing up. But there's not a lot you can do right now other than just evaluate candidates.
And how about the game on Saturday night? Do you think the sellout streak continues? And are you surprised that Nebraska is actually a favorite in this game against Indiana? They're 3-1. The Huskers really haven't shown us much in the first month of the year.
Two great questions there, Jason, because, I think Nebraska being a favorite caught a lot of people by surprise. Indiana's 3-1. They beat Illinois, and they beat a pretty good Western Kentucky team. I mean, Western Kentucky beat Florida International like 73-0 on Saturday. So that's not a bad win they had a couple of weeks ago. And they played Cincinnati tough. Cincinnati doesn't lose at home, and they played them in Cincinnati. So that was not an ideal matchup, but they ran 104 plays in a loss. And you've been around a lot of games, Jason. Very often you don't see a team run 104 plays and lose. So there's a lot about this game, but to get to your next question on the sellout streak, I think it will happen. I think they'll sell the tickets. And, there's 4 home games left. They're not home again until the end of October. There's a little 4-week break between home games here after this game. So there will be time. And I think it's to the point now, can they survive this 4 games? Then they'll get kind of that new coach bump next year. And then obviously they're going to start tearing apart the stadium after that. So this thing's got a chance, I think, to get to 400. And that's really remarkable. And I know people kind of scoff at the streak because Nebraska's had to get creative here in the last 2 years. Really the last 10 years, they've shrunk the stadium. The stadium used to have announced attendance of close to 92,000 at one point. And now we're looking at 87,000 as an announced attendance. Scan ticket numbers are more in the 70s, low 70s, high 60s. So there's a lot of, things about the streak, I think, that raise questions, but it's still remarkable that Nebraska has made it to this point because there's not a lot of teams selling out anymore.
All they need to do is win.
Just win.
Winning would solve a lot of problems, wouldn't it?
Yeah, wins make everyone's life a lot easier. It makes these Husker Chats a lot easier.
That's for sure. Sean, as always, we appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jason.
That was Sean Callahan with Husker Online, joining us for our Husker Chat series. Once again, it's brought to you by Acres Equipment. We are here every week. I'm Jason Jorgensen.
Let's take a peek at what's happening on your weekend community calendar. The Community Calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. First State Bank is now Riverstone Bank. Community strong with the same people you know and trust.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
At Platte Valley Bank, we want to help you take advantage of every adventure. We know you have plans, goals, and dreams. Let us help you with them. Whether you are just starting the business you have always imagined or looking to grow your existing one, we have a business loan to fit your needs. Stop in and see us at Platte Valley Bank and let us help make your dreams a reality. You belong here. Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
And finally tonight, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the Doves program is inviting the public to join them for an evening awareness walk this Saturday in Scottsbluff. Bilingual prevention and education specialist Lisa Peden told KNEB News they are hoping through these awareness activities to bring awareness and light to the issue of domestic violence.
We are planning to walk on across the pedestrian bridge, and so we're asking walkers to join us at 6:30 for registration, and then we'll begin the walk at 7. People are encouraged to wear purple, and we'll be meeting at the parking lot for Grace Chapel to get registered.
She says they are happy to provide a lot of information on their website at dovesprogram.com. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. See you back here on Monday.